I'll save spoilers for later in the video, but let's get right to it. The brutal truth. The Brutalist sets its sights on films similar to There Will Be Blood, The Aviator, and Citizen Kane. The rise and fall of a great man is a specific type of genre film, and one I really do enjoy. But does The Brutalist truly compare to the other movies mentioned? I'm not sure it does. I loved the campaign focused on film. I myself saw a screening on 70mm, and I've got to say, the movie does look beautiful, but the story it tells is one I've seen before. And while there's nothing wrong with this specific type of story, I'm not sure Brady Corbett adds anything to the zeitgeist other than mildly more erotic and a little disturbing. The film definitely goes to places I wasn't expecting, and that's not the thing that bothered me. I'm just not sure if it was warranted. I do believe The Brutalist is a bit heavy-handed. Maybe the screenplay itself, a form of brutalist architecture. It definitely stands out as a striking, but I'm not sure if a successful story. As the credits rolled, I and other audience members were wondering what exactly the point of the epilogue was. Again, I'm not going to get into spoilers, but the film is set up into 3 parts. Chapter 1, Chapter 2, and an epilogue. Interestingly, when the epilogue actually does begin, that's when I was most interested in where the story was going. Adrien Brody, Guy Pearce, and Felicity Jones, along with the rest of the ensemble, do an incredible job of bringing these characters to life. Each actor goes out of their way to provide their own character study, and the people in the film truly do feel alive. However, the story beats, in my opinion, don't support as strong of a scaffolding that the film needs to support itself. Its own architecture is shaky. When I think about a film like There Will Be Blood, I know it's a movie I'll watch again and again in my lifetime. It's a hard movie to watch, and it didn't win Best Picture the year that it was up for it, and I do believe that's because Daniel Day-Lewis's character was the film. The movie you were watching was the Daniel Day-Lewis movie. You were watching him perform. That's the film. Here, in The Brutalist, I don't know if either of the 2 performances are on the same level, and I do give the lead to Guy Pearce. His characterization of a golden era American oligarch is spot on. He seems both a baby and a giant. A bit of manic depression just behind the whites of his eyes. You never know when he's going to snap, and Guy Pearce does have a ferocity about him even when he is being the kindest. You always feel like he's ready to snap at a moment's notice. In fact, the first time we meet Guy Pearce's character, he's as ferocious as possible. That's his true self. We never see that exact character again, maybe not until near the end of the film. Guy Pearce absolutely is a tour de force. Adrien Brody, too, does an excellent job. Most notably with the way he lights a cigarette and closes a Zippo. It's absolutely a performance unto itself. In the end, Brody's character wins something of a silent battle, but I do have problems with the story structure and how this win is presented. I don't want to get deep into spoilers just yet, but I do want to say, if you've seen the film, I personally wish that we, the audience, had been privy to what Brody was doing in the background and as to why he cared so much about the exact specifications of the community center he was building. I don't find that the epilogue's twist really works as a twist, and I wasn't wowed or surprised. I understood and I saw the silent victory, but it just didn't feel earned to me in the story. And I do have to put that blame on Brady Corbett. Had we seen even just 1 or 2 shots of what Brody's character bases the community center on, then maybe we would have been able to say, oh, there it is, I get it, I get it. Instead, it's more of just an expository information dump, and it doesn't feel earned, and the movie ends right after, and I remember thinking that there had to at least be another 5 minutes or so I wasn't pleased with the twist. I wasn't pleased with the end. I think the whole epilogue felt out of place. We move a few decades into the future, but we change, they start playing 80s music. It didn't work for me. The best part of the film truly is the first hour and a half before the intermission. There's something about that part of the film, as Brody's character is going through hardships and successes. That story is very interesting. In fact, there's little to no anti-Semitism in the film until the second half, and it's almost as if after the intermission, all the actors had been given some notes saying, hey, we actually don't like Adrien Brody's character. We all did like him. In the first part of the film, they really respect Adrien Brody for his hardships. And I understand that this is all sort of, they were interested by him. It was new. He was a new toy. I get all that. But here's the thing. At a certain point, everyone just hates him and they don't respect him anymore. It's very strange that, again, it doesn't feel earned. It happens a little too fast. And once it happens, once everyone hates him, him. Everyone hates him, and that's it. And it just feels like it could have happened. It's a long movie. It's a 3.5 hour movie with a 15-minute intermission. So it does feel like there was room to put this in. It almost feels like a lot of the time is wasted in the beginning of the movie. It's very slow. It takes a long time to get anywhere, but you feel like we're earning something. However, the end comes so quickly, you do feel like there was some room. There were some story threads that I would have liked seen resolved a little bit better, or maybe spent some time with the characters a little more. I think from this point I'm going to talk spoilers. So if you haven't seen the film, now's the place. Pause it here, come back later. But I just want to be able to speak my mind and say that I really respect the fact that this movie was shot on VistaVision. It was shot and presented on film, and that there's been a really big push to present and view this film, if possible, on film, on celluloid. That is what I'm all about. I love physical media, and I love the arts. I want to see these movies on film. And so I'm glad I saw it on 70 millimeter, and I'm glad I supported this movie. And I do support this movie, and I do like this movie. I just don't think that this movie is one of the best movies I've ever seen, or even one of the best movies I've seen this year. It was a great movie, but the truth of the matter is I don't walk out of the theater saying I think that's going to win an Oscar. I don't think The Brutalist is going to win Best Picture. And I know there's a lot of rumblings about it, and that's the reason why it was playing in theaters in New York and LA this week, is so that it could contend for the Oscars. But I don't think we have a winner. I do think we have a nominee. It's a great film. It's art. It's a beautiful piece of art. But I don't think as a narrative it works for me. Now, it might have for you, and if it did, please comment below. Let me know what you thought about The Brutalist. But I was a bit disappointed, unfortunately. And maybe that's my fault. I went in blind to this film. I made a short video a couple of days ago called Why I'm Excited to See The Brutalist. And the moral of the story was I was excited because I didn't know anything about the movie. Now, maybe if I did know more about the movie, I would have known what to expect. And okay, of course. But I didn't know how much this movie was going to be about the creation of the Israeli state and anti-Semitism in post-World War II America. Not that I have a problem with that. It's a story I have seen many times before, and I think they went really far with what they were willing to do in this movie. Just a reminder that we're in spoiler territory now. Near the end of Chapter 2, Felicity Jones confronts Guy Pearce in his home while he's having dinner with a group of guests and businessmen. Not only does Felicity Jones' character confront Guy Pearce, but she accuses him of raping Adrian Brody's character. Something which does occur in the film, and it's something that we need to talk about. This act is not addressed, in my opinion, properly. When it occurs on screen, it's of course disturbing, and just moments later after it's over and the two men are leaving the cave the next day, how it isn't addressed also works for the film. But what doesn't make sense to me is that later, when Adrian Brody's character supposedly shares the information with Felicity Jones, well, that occurs off screen. Instead, what we do witness on screen is a few sensual shots, maybe some of the only tender moments in the film, followed by what, of course? An overdose. It's a little extreme, if you ask me. And what's interesting is that in the film, intercourse is used over and over again as a negative. He's unable to perform with a prostitute. He's unable to perform with his wife. The one time he is when they're both on opioids. So even this beautiful moment is kind of shrouded by this awful thing that's happening, and then immediately followed by an overdose. Guy Pearce's son already molested or raped Adrian Brody's niece, and that's of course never really addressed, which again, it's their story to tell. But what I find interesting is later, near the end of Chapter 2, when Felicity Jones is confronting Guy Pearce and accusing him of raping Adrian Brody in front of the businessmen and family and friends and guests, his son seemingly has a panic attack. And it makes you wonder, or realize that his son knows that this is true, obviously, because he must have been molested or have some information about his father that he knows deep down inside. And I thought this was an interesting choice, and I liked it, and they didn't continue on with the thread. All of a sudden, Guy Pearce's character is missing. They go looking for him. They get the flashlights out. They go looking in the building, in the community center. They can't find him. And that's it. Cut to black, the epilogue, and then we find out this grand twist at the end. And none of it really comes together because we don't witness any of it. We don't witness Adrian Brody opening up to his wife and telling her the awful thing that happened to him. We don't witness Guy Pearce's son actually go through a catharsis and come to a realization about some awful thing that may have happened to him as a child. Not really, at least. We don't see Guy Pearce's character alone, lost in thought, thinking about what he has done, looking out at his vast cathedral, community center, whatever he is, whatever he's built, whatever he's had the architect built. We never see a private moment with him. We don't know what it's like to be him either. In fact, I don't think we really get in the heads of any of our characters. I think the actors do an incredible job of portraying these people and humanizing these people. All their performances are incredible, but I'm not sure that Corbett is able to get us inside their minds. I don't know if I feel what these characters feel, and I think that that's something that maybe a more seasoned director could do. I don't feel like I was transported. I do feel like I watched a movie, and especially in the beginning of the film, Corbett really wants you to know you're watching a movie, and a lot of things happen in the beginning of the film to let you know you're watching a movie, including the credit sequence. There's just, I don't know how exactly to explain it, but I really felt like the first 5 minutes, hey, you're watching a movie. But I never felt like I went into this world. I never felt like I could touch the ground. All the images looked beautiful, but I never felt like I could touch it. Take that as you will, but I'm just gonna leave it here. This is a good movie, and in a world where most movies are sequels and reboots, I like a movie that strives for art. Was this my favorite film of the year? No. Was it my least favorite? No, it wasn't either. This is a good film. I give it 3 out of 5 stars, but I just don't know if I want to go watch it again, you know? I do think I want to watch There Will Be Blood again, a movie like that, which is a spiritual cousin to this film. It just does better what The Brutalist is unable to do. It doesn't reach the highs that it's striving for. But it's a great movie, and if you got nothing going on, go see The Brutalist. Check it out on 70 if you can, and, you know, just support the arts. Anyway, the algorithm says you want to watch this video, so check it out. This was Film School Dad. What's your favorite movie?